For 42 years, the CIA hid this castle from the world, a place that was once powerful, filled with knowledge, luxury, and ancient secrets. But why would they erase a castle like this from history? What was hidden behind these walls? Why they considered a threat to the entire world? Some secrets were never meant to be discovered. And now, after 42 years of silence, the forgotten castle was found. Was that biggest mistake of humanity or saving the world? In ancient times, deep in the Amazon lake region, there was something the world was never meant to find. A place hidden from maps, erased from history. A castle built around an ancient force. A castle built for one creature. The people who lived there spoke of a creature that protected the balance of the world, a serpent, larger than any known beast. They called it the Anaconda-Dragon. They prayed to Anaconda-Dragon, but what the outside world called legend was something far more real than anyone imagined. The castle was not built to worship fear. It was built to contain understanding. Within its stone walls, the ancient people lived alongside the legend of the Anaconda-Dragon. They believed it was not a beast of destruction, but a guardian of hidden realms beneath the earth. But no one believed them and called them sectarians. Deep below the surface, vast dungeon systems existed, older than the castle itself. And something inside those depths was moving again. Something that had never been meant to rise. The Anaconda-Dragon was said to descend into the deepest waters of the Amazon lake, where light could not reach. Everybody knew a legend about the Anaconda-Dragon, but nobody believed expect for ancient people. The ancient people believed it was sealing the entrances to underground dungeons, keeping the surface world safe from what lived below. But outsiders saw only the surface of the story. To them, anything that large, anything that powerful, had to be a threat. Fear began to spread beyond the castle walls. As fear spread, distant forces began to take interest in the castle's existence. Secret organizations of USA studied old records, fragmented maps, and forbidden accounts of the Anaconda-Dragon. They could not accept the idea of a guardian protecting humanity from unseen depths. They just didn't believe it. Didn't believe that something like dragon can save world to them. Only one explanation made sense. It was a weapon, or a danger that had to be removed. And so, the story began to change in the shadows. A decision was made in silence. No records were officially written. No public explanation was ever given. But the castle became a target. Operations were planned to isolate the region, erase access routes, and remove all evidence of what existed there. Special forces and intelligence units moved in the dark, guided by fear more than understanding. The Anaconda-Dragon was no longer seen as legend. It was classified as a threat that could not be allowed to remain. And so, the operation did not just aim to stop a creature. It aimed to erase an entire truth from history. The operation was completed in silence. No announcement was made. No proof was left behind. The castle was sealed off from maps, from memory, and from public record. Entire regions were redrawn. Travel routes were changed. Even local witnesses began to forget what they had seen, as if the place itself had been erased from human awareness. What remained were only fragments, distorted stories, broken references, and vanished coordinates that led nowhere. Over time, people stopped asking questions, because there was nothing official left to question. But deep beneath that silence, the truth was not destroyed. It was only buried deeper than before, waiting for the moment it would be remembered again. Years later, something changed. The silence around the castle did not remain permanent. Explorers, historians, and reconstruction teams began to uncover what had been erased, layer by layer, stone by stone. At first, it was just ruins and fragmented structures. But the deeper they went, the more the truth began to return. The castle was not abandoned. It had been hidden. And so the restoration began, not to rebuild a myth, but to restore a forgotten responsibility. As the walls rose again and the halls were repaired, something unexpected happened. The truth that was buried did not feel like a relic of the past. It felt like a warning returning to life. Now the castle stands restored once again. What was once abandoned, erased, and forgotten has been brought back to life stone by stone. The broken walls have been rebuilt with precision, respecting the original ancient architecture. The first floor, once filled with dust and silence, now shines with polished marble, restored pillars, and renewed royal halls. The second floor, hidden for years in decay, has been reopened, its corridors repaired, its chambers revived, and its structure strengthened as if time never truly destroyed it. The library has returned to life, with shelves filled once again, carrying the knowledge of those who came outside. The courtyard has been transformed into a living royal space, with gardens, stone paths, and restored monuments reflecting light from within. And yet, the most powerful change is not what can be seen. It is what has been remembered. This castle was never just a structure, it was a legacy. And now, it lives again. Life moves through its halls again, slow and steady, like it was never lost. On the first floor, people gather in the grand hall, walking across polished stone, speaking softly beneath the high arches. Light reflects from the marble floor as daily life returns to a place once forgotten. In the library, scholars and residents organize ancient books, reading and restoring knowledge that was nearly erased by time. Pages turn again. History breathes again.
I wanted you to see the
On the
finished
second
work.
floor, the quarters are active
They have done
with movement.
remarkable work on the
Doors
restoration.
opening, rooms
We
being
gather in the
used,
light of the
windows
eternal
glowing
flame.
with warm light as people
We
return
offer
to
our
spaces
devotion to
that
the great
once stood empty.
Anaconda-Dragon.
And deep within it, the symbol of the Anaconda-Dragon remains preserved. The castle stands whole again. The halls are filled with light. Life has returned just as it was meant to be. People walk its corridors, unaware of how much time it's spent erased from the world, but something remains unsettled beneath the surface. The Anaconda-Dragon was never just history, and the truth was never fully contained. And slowly, a thought begins to spread. What if the story didn't end with restoration? What if it continued inside the world itself? Because by the time you ask that question, it may already be too late. They are already among us,